Another Marvel Snap development update has dropped. We don't get these very often, but when they come out, I get hyped because, it means Marvel Snap is becoming a better game. Now, there's a couple things that are, first of all, been added to the development cycle since we've last got an update, but also there's a couple things that aren't there still, including the first edition badges, which, Cozy and I have talked about many times on the Snapchat, but yeah, they're mysteriously absent here. But other than that, we have a bunch of new things. A lot of them have significant promise here, and we're going to be going through each of the sections. This is a general overview here, but in coming soon, we have character mastery, album improvements, new game events, selectable card effects, selectable borders, let's go, that's so awesome, new infinity splits, and collectible reactions. And coming soon represents things that are like basically being finalized, Q&A tested, and then should be released within the next several months, so to speak. Then we have in development. These are in active development. We have a clan system. We have collectible borders, booster vats. And we also have more event types, which is kind of interesting, and an in-game graveyard, which I know is something that a lot of people have been requesting. And then finally, in concept, these are things that are kind of being pen and papered. We have a new game mode, new game boards, which I can't wait for, honestly, clan competitions, ultimate variant evolution, and this is notable because it's not mythic variants. It looks like maybe they're going to be using the ultimate variants as the mythic variants, and we have new card mechanics as well. But regardless, let's talk about each section in this video here, and this is directly from the developer notes. Okay, so basically we have the album improvements. So a lot of people have had some negative feedback with regards to albums, myself included. It was touted as a player feature, but ultimately felt much more like a monetization feature. It came out, pretty much no one had anything, and then what happened was they released a whole bunch of variants in the shop that, surprise, surprise, would allow you to complete the albums to get the spotlight keys and the extra emotes and the card backs and etc. Right? So, and they were expensive. The vast majority of the variants were 1,200 gold, and so naturally people were a little annoyed with that. Well, they have basically announced that yes, we have album improvements coming. Not only are they going to have albums of various sizes, but they're going to have parent albums where, like, if you're collecting Dan Hip variants, you're going to be making progress towards a massive Dan Hip library album, right? In addition to like Dan Hip ongoing cards, Dan Hip, on reveal cards, whatever it might be. So ultimately, I think that this was a big improvement. I can see why like album improvement for them could be beneficial from a monetary perspective. If encouraging people to buy more variants is something they want to do, then the albums precisely did that. But for general collectors, especially when you cannot just simply collect 1,200 gold variants as easily as obviously the 700 gold variants, I think there's a lot of opportunities to make this a much more kind of engaging system, in particular with like pixel variants, right? Everyone's collecting pixel variants. Put some actual rewards behind the pixels. So anyways, I'm interested in seeing what these album improvements look like in the coming soon. So that could be even in January or February. We have selectable card effects. Unbelievable. This has been something that a lot of people have been clamoring for a very long time. The idea of being able to kind of like actually upgrade your cards without worrying about like destroying the split that you love perfectly. Like there's a lot of cards that have, for me, like I like gold with like the orange border, and so I often just leave them there. I also have splits where like I have like a inkified card with like a white crackle effect. I'm like, I can't, like it's just too perfect. I can't upgrade this card anymore. So I have this variant that I can't use. Well, now coming soon we'll be able to actually customize the effects and the borders, which is huge. And they're also doing a second phase of the custom cards where you become collectible borders. So we're gonna be able to customize what we kind of based on our splits, and then we're gonna have custom cards with custom collectible borders. This is gonna be a brand new type of cosmetic, which is gonna be interesting. Like it's gonna be like, do we like collect them? Do we unlock them based on how many splits we do? Are they part of like a season pass? I have no idea, but they're saying that like, hey, like they're cooking something really cool. I'm all for it, right? I think the cosmetic section of this game is some of its strongest points. So it'd be really interesting in seeing how that shapes up. But ultimately, selectable card effects are coming, specifically the borders. It's been one of the most requested features in the game for the longest time. It's great to see that it's actually on the way. Now, in-game events have been something that have been like kind of put to the wayside for the most part. When Marvel Snap first launched in the beta, they had these in-game events where you'd like pick Hydra or pick, whatever. You'd pick a side and like you'd compete on the ladder or whatever, and then like you'd gain points. But none of it was ever done in the app itself. It was always done on a separate website and it was very hard to actually track, to the point where like I signed up for Hydra or whatever, and then I had no idea what I was actually doing, right? And I was like, okay, the next month I signed up for Shield, and then I had no idea what happened, no idea who won, no idea if I got a reward. Like, it was pretty awful. So the idea of doing in-game events is pretty interesting. What they're saying with leagues, so they have this new tentative one they're calling leagues, which is basically you're matched up against a small number of other players in your skill level and collection level, and you compete to see who can earn the most cubes to earn awesome rewards. That kind of sounds super grindy to me, but ultimately it's like, hey, you know what? Try it. Let's give it a shot a couple times and see what it turns out to be. And the nice thing about second inners, we know that they're going to take that feedback. They're going to try to reiterate on the product and on the mode and try to make it a little more enjoyable if it seems a little too grindy, which the first inclination might be is that it is. But ultimately, interesting. Now, for low collection players and beginners, that's going to be pretty cool, because now that means you're in a pool with players of similar collection level, so you're not going to be facing people like me with complete collections. So there are some definite like positive elements to something like a league here, but ultimately we want to see more in-game events. I think it does provide a little more kind of interest in the game, and maybe this results in a reduction in featured locations, which I absolutely hate. Instead of doing a featured location, do an in-game event. How about that, right? That might actually make a whole lot of sense. And again, they're saying that we're going to do a lot of stuff over time here, and feedback on Discord will be important. And with filling out surveys, by the way, which I think they've been doing a good job of actually releasing. Also in the coming soon are the character masteries. This is a two-slide part. Character mastery is basically the idea of like, okay, so you have a variant that like, you know, you really like, and you keep ink splitting a specific variant or a specific character, we should say. Basically, as you progressively split a particular character, you're going to unlock additional features for that character. They're using the word character. I almost like the word hero better, but anyways. So after character mastery launches, every cosmetic you collect for a character will contribute to unlocking brand new splits and exclusive rewards. So the way I see this is that, you know, basically if you unlock a Kirby Crackle Rainbow, that like ranks up the reward. And then like if you unlock a Kirby Crackle Black, that unlocks the next level, and like etc, etc. Each unique version of the cosmetic you unlock will kind of increase this to give you more options along the way for more masteries. That is essentially what I read into it. But hey, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's going to be a little different, right? It's always interesting how like the ideas on paper and the way they're executed can be somewhat a little different, but that's what I read it as. With every cosmetic you collect for a character will contribute towards unlocking brand new splits and exclusive rewards. Brand new splits is pretty cool. Right, so maybe we're going to have different types of foil effects or whatever, or maybe effects that aren't terrible. That would be great. Then what if, then finally, you know, you gain a mastery. So as your mastery comes up, you eventually get a new cosmetic type called a reaction. Exclusively available as a mastery reward for each character. Reactions are fun emoji you can show off on the cards and on locations. So what if your reaction was Goose and Wolverine? Your opponent will immediately know the dedication and love for that character. So here's an example. So let's say that they're actually showing a Jeff here with the Goose kind of on top. But if you master Goose, for instance, you'll unlock these kind of reaction emojis for Goose. In the current design, every few levels of character mastery will unlock mastery milestones. So each character has unique mastery milestone challenges for you to complete. This is pretty cool. So imagine reaching Deadpool Mastery 10 and unlocking a challenge to have Deadpool be over 100 power in a match. So I kind of like the idea of like these mastery challenges actually having in-game kind of challenges associated with them. Like, hey, can you win you know, a solo lane with Namor 5 times or whatever, and then you unlock these emojis or whatever. It could be interesting for stuff. But it also notes here that the mastery milestones will include new split unlocks, new collectible borders, or currencies to help you continue your collection levels. So you might actually get spotlight keys and stuff like that. So anyways, more rewards is always a good thing. So I'm actually really interested in the character mastery. It looks like a lot of work, to be honest with you. Now we move into the in development section. This is further out, so coming soon means like we're kind of expecting them within the next 6 months or so. In development means like maybe by the end of this year type thing, or I mean, I'm giving timelines on game dev. What do I know? But at the end of the day, these are things that are in development, but they're often being changed and still being worked on. So they can change scope, they can change design, they can change timelines. They're still up in the air. But regardless, Clans 1.0. They want to do a clan-based system, and they want a more social experience in Snap. Now, when I was playing Warcraft Rumble, they had a clan-based system, and it was basically like kind of like a running chat where people really didn't say much, and the more you played, you kind of just progressed like different types of like, you know, archetype meters, and then like you'd collect rewards based on like how much your clan did. It was kind of hands off. The more you played, the more you contributed, but realistically, if you just AFK'd the whole season and someone in your clan played all season, then you just kind of collected the rewards at the end and like whatever, I guess. Hopefully it's a little better than that, but at least, you know, we're looking at a clan-based system. Obviously, as a content creator, I would love this because it would be a really interesting way to kind of do some new engagement opportunities with like the community and stuff like that. Like I would love to have a clan or even a couple clans so that people can kind of like, you know, compete with each other, compete for each other, and contribute to common rewards and prizes. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And I think that like the social element of Marvel Snap is kind of understated. I mean, the Discord's pretty cool and stuff like that. And I remember playing World of Warcraft, and the social element of that game, the guild system, it was one of the things that kept me coming back the most. Now, naturally, that game had raids and different like cooperative activities, but hopefully with new game modes, maybe we get some new cooperative opportunities. Maybe we get a 2v2 mode or whatever, and we'll be talking about that soon in the concept section. But I think that the social side of games are really important, and so I'd like to see that improved upon, especially from a collaborative and a cooperative standpoint. And then we have booster Vats. So do you ever dream of picking a character to get boosters after a match? I actually do, to be honest with you. Booster Vats are a new feature geared towards targeting booster acquisition. So booster Vats will come in sizes from small to Hulk size, which will reward more boosters as the booster vat gets larger. Pick a booster vat size that you want, pick the character you want to target, and complete an objective. That's cool. So let's say like, oh, I want to unlock more Loki boosters. And then like, okay, so maybe you have to, you know, swap your hand 3 times in a match, or maybe you have to do something interesting with Loki, and then you kind of get those boosters or whatever, right? That would be cool. Or maybe there's like, I don't know, I was going to say get collector to whatever, but then that got nerfed. But anyways, long story short, it'd be cool to see how like there's actual objective based opportunities to get these booster Vats, instead of just being like, hey, I just want Loki to get every booster for the next, like basically like the Agatha effect, I think would have been lazy. It's cool to apply like, hey, every day maybe you can apply a challenge to one of your cards to unlock a set of boosters. And keep in mind, boosters are something that they monetize to a certain degree, so it's interesting to see them choose to do something like this, because they use boosters as kind of fluff in the bundles that they produce. So very interesting choice on their behalf. Now we go to in concept here. In concept are things that are way in advance. They could change. They could be completely scrapped, as we've seen with like, you know, dare we say, the first edition badges. But basically, they're working on ideas for a new game mode, and they're working through some concepts. They want to prototype a couple things to see what's most fun. I personally would love to see draft-based modes. I would also love to see an auto-battler. It's easy to look at something like a Hearthstone and say like, okay, look what it's done and how fun that is in Arena and Battlegrounds. And yes, but that game's also been out for like a decade. And so like, you got to give a little bit of development leeway to the second inner team. But I would clamor for an auto battler mode. I used to come from auto battlers like TFT and Dota Underlords and stuff. So Dota Auto Chess. So like, I would love that kind of mode. And here's the thing, though. I have some confidence that I think that they'll be able to actually land it. I actually think that with the clan mode, I suspect that they might be focusing more on like a 2v2 type thing, because if they do the social side, then that makes perfect sense with the social side. That's just what like my hunch based on the development cycle looks like. But I would love an arena or a draft-based mode. That would be so damn good. Then we have clan competitions. They don't quite know what those are yet, but the idea of like building these clans, having these social systems in place, and then having some sort of like competitive leaderboard or something for clans based on like, I don't know, whether it be rank or challenges completed or whatever. They just want to just throw the idea out there that they're working on it. Now there's a couple other things too that they really didn't state there. They also have you know, a new game boards, which is absolutely huge, which I really want. The other side is new card mechanics. That doesn't quite, like, what do they mean by that, right? Like, I'm not quite sure what they mean by new card mechanics, but notable is the ultimate variant evolution here. This is a deviation from what they called mythic variants in prior roadmaps. It looks as though they might be scrapping the mythic variants in favor of just making the ultimate variants have those mythic evolutions that they maybe were talking about. I actually kind of agree with that. Having another form of collectible card type, which would have cost more tokens or more money or something, I think would have probably had some major backlash. So the idea of having the ultimate card variants, having this applied to them, I think is probably a good and smart choice. But regardless, a very exciting time to be a Marvel Snap player as we look forward and onward to the future of Marvel Snap. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. It helps tremendously, and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Got another video for you right there, and we'll see you on that next Marvel Snap video.